JonTron.
Game reviews.
An unexpected thing has happened. 13 years after its release on the N64 console, GoldenEye has finally received a makeover. While not being a true sequel, I'd be hard-pressed to call this a remake either. The word I'd use is reimagining. With recognizable levels and scenes right from the get-go, this is sure to be a nostalgia-packed ride for anyone who has played the original title. The question is, does GoldenEye Wii live up to the legendary name of its predecessor, or is it destined to swim in the sea of mediocre Wii first-person shooters? The story in this game doesn't differ much from the original. You start off being briefed by M, appropriately voiced by Judi Dench, on a Russian military facility. You know how the story goes. As always, you're trying to stop terrorist organizations from acquiring military weapons. Apparently not learning from his mistakes, in 1997, James Bond again teams up with his fellow MI6 agent 006 and is tasked to take down the Russians before time runs out. And as the game moves forward, you will be seeing a slew of familiar faces that perhaps you thought you would never see again. Although Bond himself is no longer Pierce Brosnan, but Daniel Craig. Also, the likenesses of all the original actors are no longer present in this game, but their characters remain intact. Nowadays, among the Call of Duties and Halos of gaming, it can be hard for a first-person shooter to find its own place among the bigger names, but GoldenEye 007 for Wii truly feels like a current-generation translation of its N64 counterpart. Certain aspects have been streamlined and modernized, such as rebounding health, aiming down sight, and sprinting, but these certainly serve as a welcomed change, only enhancing what came before. Cynics might say that this is a mere clone of games such as Call of Duty, especially seeing as Activision published it, but I would beg to differ. There are no chest-high walls or annoying realism here. Bond can stand out in the open and soak up bullets without getting killed, picking off foes in a non-frustrating fashion. This, however, does not mean that challenge has been foregone. On the contrary, the game rarely feels like a breeze, and you will find yourself frequently being overwhelmed by enemies. Though this seldom becomes frustrating, because when you die, you know that it was you that did something wrong, not that rock you got stuck on. I have to say though, sometimes enemy AI can be a bit pea-brained at times, running right past you and then turning around to shoot at you as if they hadn't seen you in the first place. Unfortunately, that may be one of the biggest reasons this feels like an update of the old Bond game, rather than an industry breakthrough. The weapons in this game, while standard of the genre, are still varied and feel just how you would expect them to feel. Controls are acutely customizable and aiming is rather spot on. This is perhaps the best controlling Wii first-person shooter I have ever played, and possibly the first game to get it right the way I imagined back in 2006, when I picked up the disaster that was Red Steel. While fun and novel, let's face it, it's no mouse and keyboard, and I can't imagine that the controls would get much better for a Wii game. I haven't used the PlayStation Move yet, but as it stands in this current state, I would say that motion controls may not be the way of the future for first-person shooters. Though who knows, further improvements to this style may eventually prove superior to the PC's tried-and-true control method. Most of the single-player game tends to amount to nothing more than a walk through an action-scripted hallway, but interesting sequences and reactive scenery make up for the simplicity. Walls destruct, and pots and pans sway as you shoot enemies behind them. These are small details that really go a long way in making the game feel like a very cohesive experience. Little things like this go a long way for immersion's sake. Anyone who enjoyed the action-packed multiplayer from the first game is sure to have some fun here. You can pick from all the recognizable characters once again, including the bane of everyone's existence, Oddjob. You can pick from various modes and levels to tweak your gameplay style until it's just right for you. And if local multiplayer seems a bit drab, you can also play with up to 7 other people online. Things have been tweaked a bit to adhere to modern standards, such as your enemies having a more realistic health limit rather than being able to take bullets like Arnold Schwarzenegger. For a Wii game, this is certainly not a bad addition, and plenty of fun can be had here if you're tired of playing the same old games over and over. Though when all is said and done, there is really nothing new or revolutionary to be seen here. Coming right down to it, most people will probably find the multiplayer in this game to be nothing more than a fun distraction before returning to Halo Reach. GoldenEye 007 for Wii is a beautiful game, and everything about it just feels right. I can't say I'm thrilled with the fact that they decided to use Daniel Craig instead of Pierce Brosnan, but that just comes down to nitpicking. For a Wii game, the visuals are more than gorgeous. They're flooring. This just goes to show you that processing power is not all there is to good graphics. Style and skill are just as important. Though the story may be scripted and probably doesn't lend itself well to multiple playthroughs, it's simply fun to pick up and play, and isn't that what's most important? This isn't only a fantastic Wii shooter, this is simply some of the most fun I've had playing a first-person shooter game in a very long time. Controls are fluid and intuitive, the world is immersive and awe-inspiring, and you can tell that Eurocom put a lot of thought and effort into it. While the multiplayer isn't the best thing I've played all year, it's obvious that this game is not just a shameless cash-in. While not living up to the innovation of the 1997 classic, GoldenEye Wii is without a doubt an inspired nostalgic salute to its former glory. If you have a Wii, this is a must-play. Go to normalboots.com right now to see a new JonTron original, and if you want to follow us on social networking, go to facebook.com/JonTronShow or twitter.com/JonTronShow.